You are listening to the Taking Back You podcast, hosted by Dani Carter-Iddens. Taking Back You is a witty, authentic, and sometimes sarcastic show for young mamas who are trying to reclaim themselves while fully entrenched in motherhood. On this episode of the Taking Back You podcast, we are going to be talking about freeing you from your pre-baby body. I have been wanting to do this episode for a while now, honestly, probably since the very first episode, but I kind of wanted to address some other topics before we talked about our bodies, because there are a couple other things that, we need to discuss. But this topic is so important because I feel like it's a struggle that a lot of moms go through. We have pictures of what we used to look like before, we had our children. And even if we are, we've lost the baby weight and we have, gotten back to where we were weight wise, we all know that things just are not where they were before our beautiful children came into the world via our bodies. And so I want to have, a real talk today about, kind of learning how to let go of your pre-baby body, because, number one, it's not coming back. I mean, it just isn't, it's gone. But it's just, one of those things that we kind of had to give up, but we get this amazing child or these amazing children that enrich our lives so much. So, I mean, is that worth a couple of stretch marks, or maybe your belly button is not where it used to be, or, whatever is going on? I don't know. I think it is. But anyway, so we are going to discuss just, how you can free yourself from your pre-baby body and how you can kind of just kiss it goodbye. When I was pregnant with my son, I was reading all these articles, mom, you read mommy magazines and mommy articles, and they were telling me all these things to do so that my body would bounce back right after I had my son. So I was supposed to exercise, eat right. I think I was supposed to be using a certain kind of oil on my belly so I wouldn't get stretch marks. And I was supposed to be, I don't know, I think I had to take a certain vitamin so that my skin would have more or less. There's all sorts of things that I was supposed to do so that as soon as my son was born, I was going to, be on the road to getting back to how I used to be. And anybody who has had a baby, that is not what happens. Your body goes through a crazy thing. It literally has a human growing inside of it for 9 months, and then that human has to get out of your body. And while it's getting out of your body, there's a lot of damage. And though the damage is temporary, some of the damage is temporary, some of it is not. And it's not even damage, honestly. It's just what happens. It's a natural process. And so, if you've gone through that 1, 2, 3, however many times, that your body needs time to heal after you've had a baby, whether you have the baby vaginally or via C-section. It doesn't matter. There is a healing time. And there's a time when your body doesn't exactly feel like your body. And I know that time can be, it's hormonally charged, and you're just kind of you look at yourself, you're like, what the heck happened to me? And you find yourself longing for this body that you had before children. And it doesn't mean you don't love your children, and it doesn't mean that you want to switch them up or for anything, but there is a mourning process that you have to go through in order to just understand that you are not going to be physically where you were before you had your children. And I'll tell you why. One of the cool things about that I think is cool, some people might not. One of the cool things about carrying a baby in your body is that your pelvis expands for your child. There's a hormone that's released that allows your pelvis to expand, and it even helps you give birth. And the cool thing is that happens, but the bad thing is that it doesn't necessarily help your pelvis go all the way back to the way it was before the baby. So you might find that your hips are larger than they were, even if you've lost the weight. And how many times have we said, like, I'm exactly the same weight that I was before I lost my baby, before I had my baby, but my clothes don't fit the same way, or the clothes that I was able to wear before I had my baby, even though I weigh exactly the same or maybe even less, they don't fit the same way. Well, that's because when you have a baby in your body, it causes things to shift. And, like even like this is crazy. I didn't even know this, but like like your stomach, it moves, like, I don't know, your intestines move, your lungs don't get as much air, like just things that you don't even think about happen in your body. And so when after the baby is out of your body and you're holding it and you're loving and it's beautiful, wonderful, your body doesn't just snap back to what it used to be. And it might never go back to where it is. So that's why we find when we've lost, the weight, we're still like, wait a minute, things are not how they are. Anyways, I was reading these articles and they're telling me what to do. And one of the things that they said was, there was a mom in this particular article, and she was mourning her belly button. And I was like, what? And I remember even saying to Jim, my husband, I remember saying, this lady is really sad because her belly button is going to go away. Or I think for her, she'd already had children. So I think her belly button had done what it did. I don't know. And I just thought it was so interesting. I was like, so wait a minute. I'm gonna not even like my belly button by the time this is over with. And she had said that her belly button had been stretched, and so even though she lost the baby weight, when she puts on a bikini, she can barely stand to look at herself because her belly button is like bigger than it used to be. And unfortunately, I never really paid attention to what my belly button looked like before I was pregnant. And then once I read that article, I was already about 7 months pregnant. So I don't remember what my belly button looked like. So I guess I'm free from that. But that's just one of the things that happened. And it was just really funny because it never occurred to me that my belly button would stretch out, but it did, apparently. And you know what? I'm okay. I'm good. And it's a new normal. It's a new normal. The stretch marks, there are more stretch marks than there were before. And when my son was born, I was throwing on the bio oil and all that stuff. And of course, you get busy and it doesn't, you forget to put it on, and then years go by and you still have your stretch marks. And you know what I had to realize? And I want to share this with you because I think this is such a important thing for you to realize and for you to remember, is that those stretch marks are actually really, really beautiful, because those stretch marks are on your body because you brought a person into this world. And I just had to come to grips with the trade-off. And I have my beautiful little boy. And if that means that, my belly button isn't where it used to be, and if that means that my hips are a little bit wider, which, I mean, if you know me, they were already they were already doing pretty good for themselves. So I mean, honestly, having a baby didn't really like set me back. And and if I've got a few more stretch marks than I had, before I had a baby in my belly, then I'm good with that. Because this body I grew a person inside my body. And if you can wrap your mind around that, let me know, because I still have not figured out how to wrap my mind around the fact that this little guy who keeps coming up to me asking me for snacks and hugs and kisses used to live inside my body while I grew him until he was ready to live outside of my body. And the only thing that I guess I had to trade for this amazing miracle is, a few stretch marks and a stretched out belly button. And my hips are a little bit bigger. I think that maybe that transformation, and this might, I don't know, this might blow people's minds, but I think that maybe that transformation of your body might honestly be almost like a crown that you can wear. It's showing everybody that you are a mom. And yeah, you don't look like you did when you were a teenager. Cool. Because you're a mom. You carried life inside your body. That is so freaking cool. I mean, it just is. I don't know how else to put it. So if that's my badge of honor, if my badge of honor happens to be some stretch marks, then I wear it proudly. I do. Because I can't think of anything that I love more. So if you could look at it like that, if you could realize, and I mean, I know we get inundated with images, online, in magazines of these, Hollywood stars. They had a baby 15 minutes ago and now they're ready to walk the red carpet. Well, you know what? They have a lot of surgery to make that happen. They starve themselves to make that happen. They do a lot of things that are probably not that healthy for their bodies to make that happen. Now, there are some people I'm going to be like, great. Okay, I'll mention them because they're here. There are some people who just genuinely snap back. Like you can't even tell that they've had children. And I think, girlfriend, go right ahead, do your thing. I'm happy for you. It ain't me, but I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you got that bounce back and live your best life and live it well. But for me, I'm not. I'm not. I don't have that body. But that's okay. We see those Hollywood celebrities that look like that, like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later. And then we think to ourselves, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I bounce back like that? And I mean, maybe if you were a millionaire and you could have surgery, some of those celebrities legitimately get tummy tucks they get C-section tummy tucks. It's like a thing. So we're already behind, you guys. If we're not getting our C-section tummy tuck, special, then we're already behind. But yeah, that's what they do. They get a C-section and a tummy tuck at the same time because they just want to keep going. I guess they figure if they're already in pain, they might as well get a tummy tuck while they're at it, and okay. I mean, if that's what they want to do, cool. And maybe if what my body looked like made me tons of money, then maybe I would be C-section tummy tucking right along with the best of them. But while they are able to do that, it has an adverse effect on us moms who can't run out and get a tummy tuck every time. Get some quick lipo every time we find something else that's wrong with us, according to us. And I want to say a side note really quick before I keep going. The problem with my pre-baby body is with me, not with my husband. I'll tell you that. He, if it's even possible, he thinks I'm sexier than I was before I had my son. I don't get it. But, the thing is that a lot of times our husbands actually tell us this. They tell us that they like our bodies now more than they did then, and we don't believe them. But I'm starting to believe my husband. It's been a slow process because I just kind of thought Okay, you have to say that because you're my husband. But I think I'm starting to believe him. Like, I think he actually prefers how I look post baby, the years later, than how I did. He actually told me, he's like, yeah, you were a little bit skinny when I met you. And I was like, what? I looked great. But I think that, we have to understand that there's, a difference in like what our husbands see versus how we hold ourselves. Just think about that, ruminate on that, because that's something that I've been kind of working through for about 7 months now, and it's kind of like mind blown, because I do think that he actually prefers my curvier body now, which okay, cool. But, as I was saying, with, you run out and you get your lipo and and there's all these commercials now. They freeze it off of you, like all these things that they can do to you. But what they're not doing is they're not helping you. They're putting shame on you for not being able to just jump back in to the game after you've had a baby. And what they're not doing is they're not celebrating your body. They're not celebrating what your body did. Your body is not supposed to bounce right back 2 weeks after you had a baby. It's not supposed to. And, that time where your body's getting back, kind of in the groove of things is, it, it's a process, and it's supposed to be a process. And so it's part of the birthing process. It's part of the, becoming a mother process. And so you shouldn't be ashamed of it, or you shouldn't be trying to rush through it, especially if you're going to try to rush through it in an unhealthy way. And, some women can't exercise while they are pregnant. It's actually less healthy for them, according to their doctor or whatever their needs are. Some women, like, okay, even if you exercise, throughout your entire pregnancy, if you have to have a C-section, you're out of the game for 4 to 6 weeks. You can't lift anything. So, you have to just realize that this like picture that you have in your mind, yes, your goal should be to get healthy. You should be thinking, okay, I need to get myself healthy. I need to get myself in the best place because, I've said before, I have to be healthy and probably the healthiest I've been in a long time because I realize that I am responsible for another human being, so I need to take care of Alex's mom because Alex needs his mom. And then like, whoop, I'm Alex's mom. So I have to take care of her. And starving myself, doing all sorts of crazy surgeries so I can look, right and tight. I don't know if that's necessarily taking care of Alex's mom. Your body is, if you have had a baby, if you've grown a baby inside your body, you're like, just like seriously, take a second and think about how amazing our bodies are, how amazing it is to be a woman who brought, life into this world. And if you're not a mother by, birth, and you're, if you're if you're a mother who is adopted, that's still amazing because when you are a woman and you start to take care of a child, you form a bond with this child. We create hormones that cause us to bond with this child. So it actually has nothing to do with, if they came out of you or not. You form a bond with this child and the child forms a bond with you. It's a hormone. It's amazing. And so, I don't want you to think that, if you adopted your children or that there's no miracle there. There is a miracle. The miracle is that, our bodies are such a way that we are women and we can bond with our children, because it's inside of it. I can't even, like, my mind is often, I'm a pretty, like, cool chick. I mean, I don't mean like cool, like, oh yeah, I'm so cool, everybody loves me. But I mean, like, I'm pretty even keel. Like, it takes a lot to, like, blow my mind. But when I think about motherhood, when I think about bringing life into this world, when I think about a woman's capacity to love and how it's so unconditional and how it's not even like controllable by us almost, if you get what I'm saying, then I kind of don't care if my, stretch marks are there. Because I can't even get past, I can't even understand the miracle that is like life. And I actually went back to church because my son exists. Because I thought to myself, I was in a I was rocking. I'm actually looking at the chair right now. I was rocking him back and forth in the chair. I was nursing him. And I thought to myself, and I was nursing him with my, my my things that are not where they used to be when they're not as perky. But I was nursing him. I was feeding my child with my body. What? I was rocking back and forth, and I was thinking, there has to be a greater power, because this is like crazy. I'm holding a person in my arms and I'm feeding him with my body. This body that, I'm gonna be honest with you, my driver's license is lying. By about 30 pounds. This body that, I have a pair of jeans that are, you keep that one pair of jeans that you're like, I'm going to get back in these jeans. I'm not getting back in those jeans. I know good and well I'm not getting back in those jeans, but I have them. I don't know why. This body brought this person into the world. And maybe this body doesn't look like it did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But it has done something so amazing that I don't care that it doesn't look like it used to. And if someone has a problem with the way I look, well, you don't want to know what I think. My close friends could probably finish that sentence for you. But what I want you to do is I want you to stand in the mirror and I want you to look at all the imperfections and all the things that are there post-baby. And I want you to love on them. Every time I look at the stretch marks on my belly, I smile. Because they mean that my little boy is here. Your body is amazing. Your body is a miracle. And maybe it doesn't look like it did before you had children. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the whole point. that we shouldn't look like we did before because we are new. We're in phase 2. And I think it's a pretty awesome phase to be in. So please celebrate your post-baby body. Let go of your pre-baby body. And do me another favor. Kiss your kids. All right, I'll have another episode for you next week. I am so happy that you are here, and I'm so happy to share with you. Talk to you next week. Bye. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. Like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. I love Anchor because I was up and running in a couple of hours. You can even record your episodes on the go using their super friendly Anchor app. So, if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Thank you so much for listening. For more information on this and other episodes of Taking Back You, visit takingbackyou.com. And be sure to subscribe and share with your friends.